I think we should be live now. I hope that's working out the way I'm expecting it should be working out. Fun, fun, fun. Things are never ever simple. Let's add a little bit of gain to this. Let me know how the audio sounds, folks. If anybody's having any issue with the way it sounds, let me know, because I have no idea. Check my stream monitoring over here. What a pain, what a pain, what a pain. There's always growing pains when it comes to live. Never, ever, ever fails. But I think I've got it. I think I've got it figured out. How's everybody doing today? How's it going? Whole new stream setup, entirely new hardware, new space, everything. So I had a little bit of growing pain the very last minute. I had to try and figure out why my audio sounded awful. There was a lot of background noise because I don't know where I put them. The microphone setup I was using just wasn't working, so I'm straight hardwired to the camera now. Should be working out just fine. I've got audio here on the camera, and I believe I've got audio everywhere else. So I don't know. Hi folks, how's everybody doing today? I'm working on, I've got a little list of things to talk about today for the September live stream. Sorry, this is starting off rambly and strange. Anyway, moved to a new city, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania now, and setting up this new office space. The corner that you're seeing is the only portion of it that is properly set up at this point. But that's okay, we can work with that. For you folks, I've got new things going on here. I've got a new view, for one. Metal Bob, hello, thank you for being here. I've got this camera here so you can actually see what I'm talking about. If I'm talking about a tool or something, I can show you folks right here. I'm excited about that, to have that set up with the second camera angle now. And yeah, I don't know. Let's see, what do we have on the agenda for today? New videos I have coming soon. Let me set up a new... Sorry about that, folks. Had to set up a window that I forgot to set up before we started the stream. So let's size this way down. I'm moving along here, disappearing into the corner for you folks. Okay, so this is a laundry list of new videos that I have coming up for you. Sorry it's so small. Let me blow this up a little bit. I've got to make this huge. Okay, there's a laundry list of new videos that are going to be coming. I've got these filmed. I need to film maybe some voiceover for them to show you folks, but this is a list of new videos that I've got coming out for you in the not too distant future. Some of them need fill in, some changes like moving the studio space. I'm not complete with that yet because I need to find a new shop and studio space for you folks to film videos. So that one's definitely not complete yet, but you know, some of these are, I think the next one I'm going to do is the HVAC hoses. Boost and Ho, hello, thanks for being here. Yeah, I know, my content's been spotty lately. With the move, this has just been so difficult. I only got my computer set up so I can actually start editing videos again, like this week, really. So, and even that, like, this is not a final setup. It's just what I've got going for now. It's gonna have to be good enough. I gotta get rolling on videos for you folks. Like I said, this is a list of videos. I think the next video I'm gonna do is going to be the HVAC hoses, so the AC hoses for the C10. I filmed myself making those so I can demonstrate for you how it is that I make them, how I do them. My cat is playing with a toy at my feet, so I hope you folks aren't getting all that audio. Bully, come back, thank you. I am loving this new office setup. It's taking forever forever. I hoped this would be like a weekend to turn it into what I want, and it's been like close to 2 weeks now trying to set it up, but we're getting there. So I got this mural by my roommate in the background here, my computer. I made this, wow. I made this desk. It's a butcher block top that I just bought, routed the edges, and I finished off. I can give you a view of it. Let me show you. This doesn't do it nearly the justice, but I kind of went for an antiqued look. You can see the black edge on there. I stained it with a black stain all the way over it, and then I went over it with 180 sandpaper and sanded through that black stain, so you can see that's why it's like splotchy in some areas. I think it gives it really kind of a neat look, an antiques look. I'm digging it anyway. Let me move that camera. Fine tuning. I can see my cat's tail in the background. Sorry, I'm just fine tuning this camera. I didn't like the angle or position it was at. So now I can make that change. Sorry, growing pains are a pain in the butt when it comes to new stream setup. I've got to fine tune this. I want to start actually streaming like as something that I do, to like this, having conversations with you folks, streaming video games, or while I edit videos maybe. Once I get a shop set up the way I want it to be, I would like to stream while I work. Maybe I can talk with folks while I'm doing things. You can pick my brain why I'm doing things while I'm doing them, as a thought for the future. Let's check some comments, questions. Where are you located? Some IG posts from Berto. I was in Charlotte for a couple of months working on my dad's C10 pickup truck. I am located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania as my home base now. So yeah, Charlotte was just a temporary thing. That's where my immediate family lives, my sister and my parents. And I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Josh asking about the, I only posted on TikTok about this, and my parents are probably watching a stream, so hi, I didn't mention to you that my car was quote unquote broken into, which means I just left it unlocked like an idiot. Actually, nothing was stolen. Not a thing that I found anyway. I haven't figured out anything that was stolen. Like, there was nothing in my car. I took all the valuable stuff out of it. It was parked here on the street in front of my house, but I left it unlocked, or I must have accidentally left it unlocked and somebody went through it. I only know that somebody went through it because, like, it was messier than it had been. I've been keeping it pretty clean, and it was a little messy, so I was kind of confused by that. And then I noticed a wrapper for some Pop-Tart, like snack thing. Not Pop-Tarts, but like this weird snack that I don't eat because they're not vegan. So I was like, what the hell is this? And I realized there was a box of screws sitting on my seat. They literally, like, it was a passive-aggressive, like, you don't have anything worth stealing, in my opinion, anyway. So I posted about that on TikTok, but I didn't make that public knowledge. Ahmed, firewall mil-spec connectors. I really don't use the mil-spec connectors that most people know of when it comes to wiring jobs. And there's nothing against them by any means, just the only thing is most of the ones that I'm familiar with are either A, rather expensive for what they are, and for a lot of customers that can be hard to justify, or B, they are really good for small diameter wiring, like 22 gauge. If I was doing an EFI harness that I wanted to have a disconnect in, they'd be great for that, but they usually aren't large enough for most of the harnesses that I'm doing. Aftermarket harnesses maybe, but for a factory harness, there's generally more connectors and wires to deal with that those don't really work out for me. So, Joshua, that's fine. Don't worry about bringing that up. Like, it's fine. It's whatever. Anyway, the mil-spec connectors, I don't really use those. Let me see if I can find here real quick what I do use. What I use is the Deutsch connectors, which are a very similar concept. I need coasters for this desk. I do use those to do my wiring. Let me see. I have a video about it. And I think I mentioned them in that video. Wow, that is real janky. probably because I'm streaming and there's a whole lot going on in the house right now, probably. So hopefully the stream health looks like it's still going. One of the things I've been most excited for in this new house is, or in this new office space, is gigabit Ethernet. I have gigabit Ethernet now, or internet now, so I'm so pumped on that. Let me see here. Yeah, I think there we go.
With the connector. Maybe
Let's switch
go
up.
Ahead and stick a wire through your firewall, and you have a small hole existing there already. You can fit a grommet into it. The wire will fit through it. But
nope, that wasn't what I was looking for. Sorry.
I think we all run into this from time to time.
Where are the mil specs? Not the mil specs, the Deutsch connectors I use. I use Deutsch bulkhead connectors for firewall wire. There they are.
The primary place that I use...
There. That's what I use, is one of those Deutsch connectors right there. It's a similar concept to the mil spec, but I can get it in different wiring sizes that work for me. Like if I'm doing a front lighting harness, which is what that plug right there is, headlights, turn signals, maybe AC signal, horn, those kinds of things going out through the firewall. These are great because I can get them with like 12 gauge wire connections or even larger. See if I got a picture of the other one I used on this car.
Those bulkhead type connectors is for the front lighting harnesses on cars.
The other one that I used,
and then I have an easy setup that I can go ahead and have the...
Yeah, I don't have a picture of the other one that I used, but the other one that I used was actually had like a 6 gauge connection in it, so I could actually send the entire power feed for the car through one of those connectors into the interior, safely insulated, secure. I loved that thing, so that was definitely very useful for me. Switch back to the main view here. Let's check back in the chat. James, you asked, you'd like to see a video on theory of where to cut when sectioning a body or reverse sectioning, widening, adding, blah, blah, blah. Excellent, excellent idea. That's definitely going to happen. I've got a couple of projects potentially lined up. I need to locate a shop space here in Philadelphia. And I have a couple of projects technically, like somebody asked, say, hey, I got these projects I would like you to work on. I need to locate a space to do them. I will absolutely be covering those, pretty much those topics in some of those videos if and when that happens. So definitely an excellent idea. Thank you for that one. Joshua, with you living in Pennsylvania now, how are you going to finish your dad's truck? My dad's truck, quite simply, it's in bodywork stage at this point, and I don't do bodywork anyway. So I do metalwork, fabrication, wiring. I do everything but bodywork, basically, and not generally interior work. So his truck is going to get finished, but it's just going to have to be trips. So my dad's going to be doing a bunch of the finish work himself, assembly stuff that he can handle, and I'm going to go down there and finish things as well. I'm hoping, we are hoping that Christmas time, like the holiday season, will be out of paint and body, and he'll have a lot of the parts back, or at least most of them back at that point, so that I can go down there and help him assembly and work on it. And, you know, at the moment, I don't have a full-time job. This is the only thing that I've got going on right now. I'm sure that will change, but at the moment, this is what I've got going on. And, you know, I'm taking precautions as far as social distancing and COVID and all that. I have some pre-existing health conditions that make me rather concerned about the whole topic, so I've been playing it as safe as I can. And with that, I am, you know, I'm not working at the moment. So as things move forward, hopefully I will have the freedom to go down there and help my dad out, even if just for long weekends or a week at a time. So there will be more videos coming, finishing the project, helping him with it, and that will be happening. So it's just gonna have to be trips at this point. Metal Bob, what are your thoughts on the works and techniques of Ron Fournier? He did some excellent stuff, taught a lot of great people. I have a couple of videos both from him, and then there's like 1 or 2 videos that he and Ron Covell did joint that earlier on in my career helped me with learning some techniques as far as like planishing, or well, not Hammer forming, I definitely picked up some technique stuff from him and Ron, and then I think English wheel techniques, maybe I picked up some stuff from him, learning through that. Rest in peace to him. He passed away a few years ago now. I believe his son or his nephew is carrying on the family business at this point. I know his immediate family is still doing stuff with the business and teaching and all of that. I'd love to get out there and talk with them. I haven't seen them posting anything lately on social media, so I don't know if just because the way of the world right now, they're really not doing much or what the deal is. I'm not up on that. I've got a call coming up, I think, with Ron Covell in the not too distant future. Maybe I can pick his brain on the topic. He was much closer with Fournier than I ever was. In fact, I don't think I ever met him. So that's a shame. I wish I would have gotten the chance to. So definitely a good and excellent influence on the industry as a whole. Let's see. I mentioned that I have new videos coming up in the not too distant future. I think the next one that I'm going to do is going to be the HVAC lines, the AC lines on the truck, how I made those. Then I've also got a video on the topic of totally different, not the C10, the van. A buddy of mine's doing a van build where he's literally is already living out of his van. He's living in a van down by the river in his 30s, and we are going to be doing some stuff around that. I already filmed 1 or 2 videos that I'll be putting together in the not too distant future. Super simple stuff, but for van life people, that's a hot topic right now, and people are going to enjoy that. And I did a few things in there. I had to cut in like a sunroof into the van, and so there's a few techniques and things that I did in there. Maybe you folks who are more interested in the metalworking will find interesting. I'm hoping anyway. So, let me see timestamps. Yeah. Feel free to drop any comments, questions in the chat. I love hearing from you folks as we are going here. What else is on my list? The shop search. I have a lead on a shop, but literally the person that I would be renting it from doesn't own the building yet. They're in the process of trying to buy the building, and then I would be renting the shop from them. So that's a whole thing that I've got to figure out at some point here. I need to locate a shop. That is a large priority for me right now, because at the moment I don't have a space to be making videos for you folks. I've got a list of videos still filmed, ready to go, but it's going to take me a little bit to get to new content. So I need to get rolling on that. The sooner I start figuring out, just building out this office space has taken so much time that I'm really worried about how long setting up a shop would take. So that's a serious concern for me. Boost and Ho, Ahmed, Ahmad, I'm sorry, I think I probably mispronounced your name a couple times. Sorry about that. Have I done a video on the shrinking disc? No. I have some content filmed from the C10 that I had every intention of doing a shrinking disc video when I was working on the C10. However, I reached a point on the C10 where I couldn't film anymore because I just had to the project was taking so much longer than we had originally intended it to, that I could not stop and film. I just had to work. And I was working like 12-hour days right before I left, just trying to get stuff done because I had to get back to Philadelphia to help a friend out with some stuff and work on filming things here and setting up my life here. Like, I had to get back. So all of that came down to, I didn't have time to film the shrinking disc video, but I really wanted to film. I have some of the content filmed for it. I have some stuff filmed, some talking about it. I will be doing a shrinking disc video before the end of the year. I really want to say like in 2 weeks, but I can't say that at the moment. Very, very soon. It is high on the list of priorities to do a shrinking disc video for you folks. Definitely on there, going to happen when... Yeah, well, your name shouldn't be hard to say. I should just actually... It's a Eurocentric concept to say your name and it's hard to say. Yeah, so whatever. I'm sorry, but I'll do my best. That's one of the things I'm sad about with SEMA being canceled is I'm gonna miss like getting to meet people, you know, whether it be viewers like you or, you know, other people who make content or other people in the industry. it's sad to not be seeing or meeting a lot of people like Ron Covell. You know, he, like the only time I get a chance to see him is at SEMA at this point. So it's kind of sad that I'm not going to get that chance this year. I am going to be doing SEMA content. I don't know if anybody's familiar. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. There is going to be a virtual SEMA. I'm not claiming that I'm holding out massive hope for that, but it will be happening. Let me pull it up here on the screens for you folks. Chrome capture. SEMA 360 is what they're calling it. It is going to be a live event where manufacturers will be releasing new products. There will be new builds, and if you folks want to attend, you can. You can sign up if you are industry. Just as the SEMA event normally requires, you will have to be industry to be a part of this event and prove that you are industry. For me, I will be attending as media. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing live streams. Maybe we'll just live stream and talk about how silly this whole event concept is. I don't know. Maybe we'll do that. Or I might do dedicated videos. You know, I'm still going to be looking for the new products. I'm sure companies will put out new tools. I don't know if I should really make a big deal about it yet, but Gear Wrench is going to be doing a SEMA tangential thing. And since they're not going to have SEMA to show things off this year, they're going to be doing a live event, and I will be taking part in that. So I know there will be that coming up in sometime around when SEMA would be occurring. So I know that's going to be happening. That's interesting. Hope you folks will be interested. I'll be advertising that when it gets closer and I have more information for you folks as to what's happening. But as far as SEMA 360 is concerned, the event's happening. I don't know what it's going to be like. I'm not holding my breath. You know, it's going to be, let's get back here. What's it going to be? SEMA November 2nd to the 6th. I don't know if I'm going to be waiting in chat lines to talk to companies because I'm supposed to be able to have the option to talk to people about this stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to interview anybody or just if I'm going to have to wait in a chat to talk to people about their products. I don't know. You know, even at the SEMA event, I would have to wait in line sometimes to talk to people about their products. So I wouldn't usually. I would usually go somewhere else and come back when there weren't any people around. But, you know, hey, that's a whole different topic. So we'll see. I'm going to be doing something based around it. We will find out if it's going to be any good. Yeah, Metal Bob, SEMA honestly, legitimately was a 10th of my year, if not more, 25%. Like if you look at my total views in a year, as far as the HotRodHippie channel is concerned, I'm fairly certain that SEMA alone made up a very good portion of those. So like, it sucks that they canceled it. That said, I had no intention of going. Just honestly, like I said, I'm taking COVID rather seriously. I got very, very, very sick at SEMA last year. I got the flu while I was there, and I did test positive for the flu. So don't say it was COVID then. But I was as sick as they say COVID is. Like, I was out of work for a couple of weeks. It was very, very, very bad. The only reason I wasn't hospitalized, honestly, is probably just because I couldn't afford it because I don't have insurance. So I just never bothered to venture to the hospital. I went to the doctor, and, you know, they gave me some breath, inhaler that was supposed to open my lungs up because I basically had pneumonia from it, and it was bad. And that was just from normal SEMA. It's because when I'm at SEMA, I work 12, 14, 16-hour days. I don't eat well because there's not many vegan options at the freaking SEMA event. If you know, SEMA 2020, I will definitely be saying, hey, push on people to get some vegan options in there, please. And, you know, I know that's selfish, I guess, but I need to eat while I'm working. Whatever. I was run down, and it hit me bad, and it took me bad. So COVID, like, I couldn't risk it. So I had no intention of going anyway, unfortunately. The Daily Drift. I'm starting to really dig the 67 Mustang, and I'm curious what your opinion is on butt welding versus overlapping floor pans. I did a butt welding versus overlapping video, but I didn't cover floor pans in that very well. I was mainly focused on exterior panels. I didn't make that as clear in that video as I should have. I want to do a floor pan video, and I'm sure if I get some projects in the near future, I will absolutely have a chance to do that. Where I can, I butt weld floor pans, but I'm not against overlapping them. Overlap is a factory design. Your cross members overlap. Some floor pan sections overlap in factory. So I'm kind of okay with it, but I try to avoid it because I still find that those are the areas that rust on classic cars. If there was a factory overlap, it is very likely there's quite a bit of rust in there from time. So I try to avoid those if I can. But I've done a lot of custom floor pans where they didn't reproduce it, or I had to make it a raised tunnel for a custom transmission tunnel and all that. And I overlap a lot of that stuff. I do, where I'll make a flange and I will spot weld that to the floor pan, and it adds a lot of strength and rigidity. When you're talking about a floor pan, that can be in many times, especially something like a Mustang, where the floor is a large portion of a structure of the car, the overlap can allow for additional structure. So I will absolutely be doing a dedicated video about that, but the short answer is it's okay to do it. Just make sure to primer in between your layers if you can, wherever you're not welding, primer or even paint in between there. Seam seal when you're done so that moisture from the inside and underneath can't get into that seam. Give it the best effort you can to prevent rust in the long run. Ahmad, I'm hoping for the life of me that SEMA 2021, I'm okay with skipping it this year, but next year, that would really suck if we had to skip. I'm sure things will be, I don't want to say things will be back to normal. I think that by that time next year, there's no way in the world that we're not going to be back to normal. It's just going to be life at that point. So absolutely, I will be going in 2021. I will just be taking a lot of vitamin C, probably getting a hotel room. I think part of my problem this year was that 2019 was I got a Airbnb, and I think that might have, it was in a basement. I wonder if that contributed to my getting sick. I don't know. But I'll be getting a hotel for once. I always get Airbnbs, and I'm not doing that again next time. James Sheets, you ask about the PRI show. Funny story, the last 2 years I've had media credentials for PRI. I was set to go, but it's just the last minute, because the problem is for me, it's so soon after SEMA that I take, to go to SEMA, I was working a full-time job when I was going to SEMA. So I would have to take I only got 1 week of vacation at that job. I would take my 1 week vacation to go to SEMA and cover it. So I took my week's vacation so I could work. So then coming back, working 2 weeks, and then going to PRI was really hard for me to swing with my work. I always thought maybe I would do a long weekend and do it, and but I was never able to swing it. I will absolutely be covering PRI in the future. I know PRI was canceled again, as well as SEMA for this year. Again, I didn't have any intention of going this year. I didn't even apply for my credentials this year, I don't think. Yeah, I didn't even bother applying for my credentials to PRI this year. So next year, hopefully. I need the freedom that either working for myself allows, or at least a part-time or freelance job that would allow me the potential to travel a little bit more. So I'm hoping that's part of this whole push here to get a shop and to do the HotRodHippie as more of my full-time job. It's not just that I want the freedom and I would just selfishly want to do it. I mean, I do, and yes, but also is the concept that the freedom that it allows for me to create the content. So I can go to these car shows and I can go to these events. I think at the moment PRI is probably slightly outside of my scope of my channel. I'm focused more on the fabrication end of things and the tools, but there are tool vendors at PRI, and I would like to cover more of the parts end of things. I try to do that with SEMA. I make parts videos from SEMA, whether it be hot rod parts or custom car parts, and the videos don't do very well, but I think it's because my channel just doesn't reach those people who are interested in that yet. So, I would love to do PRI. Hopefully 2021 I can do SEMA, I can do PRI. I would love to do FabTech as well in 2021. Because I focus on the tools a lot. I find the tools interesting, so I think FabTech is an excellent place for me to go and cover. Let me see what I missed here. I know, Artie, you commented, you said something back there. Artie, you asked, are there any plans for some Harrison collabs? I saw Tom last week. We went into some monster truck show over in Jersey. There are definitely plans for some collabs. He and I keep talking about, like, I'd really like to do a weekend, we keep calling it the weekend LS swap. Because there are all these videos out there, or at least there are news or magazine articles about how easy LS swaps are, budget LS swap, and I'm really of the opinion that those are lies. They're half-truths. LS swaps are easy, yes, in a way, but they're not nearly as easy as those magazine articles make them out to be, just in the scope of them. And I would love to do like a 1, 2, 3-part video series of just doing an LS swap beginning to end on something where we pull it in on a Friday and we drive it out on Sunday. And maybe the planning that goes into that to allow that to happen, getting all the parts there ahead of time. You know, I want to make a video showing how somebody could actually do that for themselves, especially if it was like their daily driver car, if they, you know, their beater pickup truck, but they wanted to put a newer motor in it. I want to show how they could potentially do that quickly and efficiently and on a budget as well, not high-end everything, on a budget within reason. You know, part of on a budget, or part of doing it quickly means you do have to spend some money some places, like a wiring harness. You know, you can't rework your own harness if you're planning to do it in a weekend. That's just not going to happen. So definitely have plans on that. And basically what I'm trying to say is Harrison, he and I have been talking about doing that. He right now is taking COVID very seriously because his father's a little bit ill. And so his family, he's got pre-existing conditions, people who are vulnerable that he's trying to take care of. So he's taking COVID rather seriously. And he had COVID at one point, so he's concerned about reinfection. It was a rather rough time for him. So now that I've put Tom's personal information out there, Ahmad, curious as to what car shows I watch on Velocity, Motor Trend, Netflix. I don't. That's the short answer. On YouTube, on Netflix, on any of these places, I don't really watch car content. I think part of it is I don't like comparing myself. It's not that I don't enjoy the stuff. I used to watch it a lot more. The problem is that I compare myself. I look at my channel and where my channel's at and how it's growing and the content that I produce, and then I watch these other things and I say, you know, why isn't my stuff doing better? Why is their stuff hitting and mine isn't? Yeah, obviously with TV shows it's a different animal, but basically it comes down to I get in my own head when I watch those things, so I try not to, and I also pick them apart too much. I did binge watch one when I got here to Philadelphia, and I had some downtime while I was working on some stuff. I did watch and binge watch one on Netflix, and it was like a what do you call it, a self-loathing concept. Whatever. It's not a... They don't do great work, is all I can say. But let me pull it up here and show you folks the one that I'm talking about. The one that I was watching was this one, Rust Valley Restorers. I watched all 3 seasons of this show, and it was mostly that a friend and I watched it, and he kept picking my brain, being like, is what they're saying accurate? Is that true? Is that realistic? Or is the money that they're talking real? And a lot of people like to do that with me, like pick my brain while we watch these kinds of shows. And it was just funny to me, honestly. Like, the work that they do, I'm not saying it's bad. It's not the same work that I do. And so it was interesting to see that other side of things. I used to do work like that where it was more budget-minded and, you know, just getting this car running, driving for somebody. I used to do more of that stuff. And that's kind of where I got my start in the hot rod world. So it was interesting to watch that show. The owner of that shop is like a, you know, a dread hair freaking hippie dude, and it's neat to see that out of Canada. So I did watch that one. What else do I like? I like Can Dig It Design, their, what is it, Bitchin' Rides. I like their show because I think their show, from what I've seen, of the ones that I've seen, theirs is the most accurate to what it's like to being a car builder. Now, they still use, camera trickery where, they condense a build from 1 year into one episode of a show. They do that stuff. Yeah, but that's just television. You don't want to tune in. TV viewers don't want to tune in week after week to see portions of a build. I get that. But I've seen, like, the very first episode of that show that I ever watched, they stabbed a distributor into a small block Chevy, and it was 180 out, and then they pulled out the plugs to reset the distributor to get the cylinder top dead center so they could set the distributor properly, and then they left the plug out of it. It was real, and I appreciate that they left that stuff in, and they showed how it's actually like to work on a car, because everybody does that. It's normal, and they showed it. And they're still building $1 million cars, so that was really cool. I've only met Dave in passing, and he was a very nice person when I got the chance to meet him. The work that they do is excellent quality. I really appreciate that show. And on Motor Trend's service, I like the show Dave Freiberg and what's-his-face do, the dyno one, where is it Dyno Masters or something like that, where they take like urban myths about flipping your air cleaner lid and actually dyno test them on a dyno. I like that show because it actually shows me real world, like what's going on some stuff anyway, at least in that one situation. I find that interesting. It takes the bench racing out of it and says, all right, let's put our money where our mouth is and see what's happening. I appreciate that show. All right, let me catch up since I went off on a little tangent there. Metal Bob, what is your take on conventional versus scroll air compressors for air tools? I don't have a really good opinion on this personally. I can only go off what I'm told marketing-wise because I haven't long-term tested this. The last shop that I worked at, we had a scroll-type compressor. To my understanding, the scroll-type compressors are more so intended for large volume shops where that thing is literally going to be running 24/7 and where the air supply is in constant demand. So we used it and we did have it cycling. It went on and off all day long and it worked great. It caught back up quickly. I never had an air supply issue there as long as it was on. It did break on us like once, and that unrelated to the concept of the tool itself. And it had a hard life before the shop got it. They bought it used from, some factory that took it out of service. It wasn't old by any means, but it wasn't new. It was loud, but it's a compressor. It was rather loud. We had it in a whole separate room of the building where it had its own space to be loud in, just because it was moving a ton of air. I mean, it's not necessarily that the compressor was loud, it's just you can't spin a 30 horsepower motor, as fast as it has to and all of that without generating some noise. For me, I would almost certainly go with a standard piston type compressor I can't see spending $10,000 on a compressor right now. If I was painting where I was in constant need of high volume air, maybe, but I don't. I'm just running air tools for little spurts at a time. The largest demand that I have a need for an air compressor is a blast cabinet, and good piston type, like a 5-horse piston type, 7.5-horse piston type, can keep up with that. And there's some really quiet ones. I did a video at SEMA 2018 of the Flexzilla Legacy air compressor. That thing was so quiet, but I wouldn't even recommend that one at this point, honestly, because it's not. Let me find that video. Pull it up, show you here.
Hi folks, Alan Manick,
like I said, I wouldn't even necessarily recommend this thing at this point. But I did cover this compressor. It was shockingly quiet. I want to say it was a 80-gallon, 5 horsepower was that one, but it was like $4,500. There's a couple of companies selling that exact same compressor in different branding now for like $2,500. So if and when I go to buy myself a new compressor, that's what I'm going to be picking up. So I do find that a good piston type really will keep up. I don't have a need for the scroll type for my needs, and I don't think most folks for small individual shops really have any need for that. Engine Masters, Joe, thank you. That was the one I was talking about, the Dyno Show and Daily Drift. Joe, thank you for checking in. Glad to have you here. I am back a little bit. You know, I'm absolutely, from here forward, we will be back to weekly videos. I'm promising you that for the rest of 2020, there will be weekly videos. So that's coming back, thankfully. I'm finally at a point where I still have stuff to do and all kinds of things going on, but I can absolutely sit down once a week and film and edit a video at least. So glad to be back to that. Boost and Ho, you mentioned Gotham Garage. I have not watched any of that. People keep commenting about that show to me because I did that video, SEMA 2019. I went to LA afterwards and hung out, and I went to the Peterson Museum. And when I was at the Peterson Museum, the video that I made from the Peterson Museum, people keep commenting about it because that's the only way they know of the Peterson Museum is that show. I've never watched it. I'm sure I wouldn't like it. All right, seems like I'm caught up on questions and all of that, so I've got a couple of tools to show you, things that have come in the recent time that I might as well show you. So let's switch over to my new desk camera here, and I can do that. Haha, we got the desk view there. All right, let's start off with, just came in this week is this tool right here. I did something on Instagram about this yesterday. It doesn't show up amazingly because it's black, but this tool is from Dom Tucci Design, and this is called the offset marking tool. And the idea of this is you take this, he actually sells it and sends it with this Milwaukee Inks All pen, and I did test because I use Sharpies. I don't love these Inksalls. I don't think they're worth the money that they cost. No, they work, don't get me wrong, they work, but I don't have any special affinity to them. Anyway, so you put it in there, and then you have the guides here, these metal guides, this other thumb screw that you can then, let's get to a point here, you can then adjust this to a different length. It goes from 3/16 of an inch at the narrowest to just under, I think it's like 3 5/16 of an inch, 3 3/8 of an inch at the widest. And then you can go ahead, I'm gonna take the marker out of here because I don't want to mark on my desk, but I can go ahead and mark a line consistently off of the edge. Now there are plenty of ways of doing this on the market. You know, your typical square you can do this with. You can do it with a tape measure. But what I like about this is it very securely holds that marker in place, so you don't have to worry about angling the marker any. You know, if you turn the marker halfway through as you're using a tape measure, your distance has changed. So you don't have to worry about any of that. It keeps a nice straight line, and overall, I'm impressed with the idea here. It's a 3D printed part. Dom designed this thing up, and I think it's interesting and does serve a good purpose in the business. It will also work on the outside and inside corners, you know, to a point. I'm sure, you know, a certain inside or outside radius, very tight one circle, it's not going to work great. But I think he designed this intending for like panel work, metal shaping. Dom Tucci, if you're not familiar with him, Dom Tucci Designs. He's the son of Dave Tucci from Tucci Hot Rods. I worked there some years ago with them, and they're good folks. And Dom's bringing, he went to school for like a, what is it called? Engineering design kind of thing. He's not an engineer, but he did go for like designing along those lines. So he's bringing industrial design kind of stuff, and so he's bringing some of that world into the custom automotive world with things like this. It's $30. You have to pick it up from Dom Tucci Design on Instagram. Let me pull up his page real quick. Switch over to, yeah, Dom Tucci Design. I don't want, just open, fine, log in. Thank you, that was annoying. Okay, there's the tool itself, and blow this up a little bit. There's a series of them, $30, pick it up from him. It does come with one of the Milwaukee Inks All pens. As I said, a Sharpie does work with it as well. So, Okay, back to the mainstream. Let's get the desk view, actually. All right, back to the desk view here. Next tool on the docket after the marking tool is these guys. I should have grabbed a standard one. I'm silly. I just got these in a couple of weeks ago from the folks at Gear Wrench. These are the new compact head design. It's hard to show the size of this head, unfortunately. I should have grabbed another ratchet. Let me grab another ratchet real quick, see if I can here. Whoop. To show you folks. Oh, I've got a box. That box is not open. Never mind. I'm not going to cut open a package just to show you, unfortunately. All right. Well, here's the marker next to them for a size reference. These things, honestly, the teardrop head, the whole point of them is that the head is more compact in this way and this way. You can see how close the ratcheting mechanism is to the edge all the way around there. And the idea is to fit these into tighter locations. You know, just get them in those tighter spots and ratchet. And overall, the slimmer head design of the Gear Wrench ratchets, these have the 90-tooth ratcheting mechanism. So the slimmer head design really does work out nicely for that. Let me see if I can move this camera quick. Irritating myself. That's better. So the slimmer head design of this allows it to fit in tighter locations already versus something like a snap-on ratchet. Now, snap-on does sell. I posted about this on TikTok and people frickin' would not leave me alone, that Snap-on sells like a 1/4-inch body with a 3/8 drive. And that's neat, that's interesting, that is great. But this is just, it's another take on the concept. And it's a smaller head than a standard style 3/8 ratchet. It will fit in tighter locations. And these two ratchets, it comes in a 2-piece set with these two in this little tray here. These two, I want to say I was finding them online right now for about $50 for the pair of them, which is half the price of that one Snap-on ratchet, and you also get this longer one, whereas the Snap-on ratchet is more sized like this little one, the standard kind of 3. This is more like a 1/4-inch ratchet size. Fits in the palm of your hand nicely. I like ratchets this size for tighter areas like header bolts. These kind of ratchets are good for, and spark plugs I also like these for. And, oh, I have a giveaway coming up, and I want to mention it to you folks. I've been putting this together for a little bit now, taking a little longer to put together than I had hoped. It's taking a little bit longer than I had hoped to put these together because I want this to be a really good giveaway. I hit a couple of milestones. Recently, I hit 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. Like, I'm at 22,000 now, I think. I hit 5,000 followers on Instagram. I'm pushing over that already, and I'm getting close to 75,000 on TikTok. TikTok's been doing really well for me. If anybody's not familiar, that's where I've been posting videos most of the time lately, just because it's so easy to do. I'm going to do a TikTok. I'm going to download the videos off of there and do a compilation for you folks who are here on YouTube, so you can still see the same content that I've been putting up there. And yeah, they're like 1-minute videos, so I'll clip a handful of them together, maybe a 6-minute video, a couple of compilations of that, so you folks can still get the content. You don't have to use TikTok if you don't want to. It's just been very easy for me to do that. And so I'm going to be doing a giveaway in the near future. Anyway, I feel safe in saying now what I will be doing for the giveaway. Let me show you here on the desk. I've got 2 of the items I will be doing a giveaway with. One of the items I will be doing in the giveaway is not the marking tool. That's mine. It's a set of these ratchets, these compact head Gear Wrench ratchets. I will be giving 1 set of these away. It's going to be a prize pack deal. It's not going to be, what do you call it? It's not going to be like, you know, first place gets the ratchets, second place gets blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a prize pack. So first place is going to get a set of these ratchets, a pair of the IsoTunes Pro 2.0 Bluetooth hearing protection, the hearing protection that I use on a daily basis. I've done a review of these before as well, which IsoTunes has a brand new product coming out soon that I'm hopefully getting in for a review very, very soon that I think some of you will be very interested in, and I'm hoping to have that very, very soon to do a review in the next couple of weeks. So a pair of these, you'll get those two, and then Red Horse Performance is also sending over some stuff from them as well. I don't want to disclose that yet until I get what they are sending over so that I have it locked in for sure. Hopefully there'll be first and second place, maybe even third place prizes in this whole giveaway. But for the moment, I know what's giving away for first place, so that's what I'll tell you for now. So, okay. One thing I can say for this new office space, it's warm. Unfortunately, the weather's been beautiful here in Philadelphia this week. It was like fall weather, 60 degrees, sunny, light breeze. It has been gorgeous all week. Yesterday it got humid. Last night it rained. Today it's very, very humid. Of course, on the day that I have to close the windows, turn the fans off, and I took the AC out of the window this week. It's been very hot in here today, and of course it happened to be today where I'm going to do a live stream. Ahmad, you asked, Milwaukee has a bunch of cordless auto tools, some angle grinders and grinders. Will you be converting or sticking to air? I don't have them here. I am a Milwaukee Tools fan. I do use their products, and there are some of their things that I do use and will use. So the answer is yes and no. It wasn't a yes or no question, but whether or not I'm switching, yes and no. The grinders, the angle grinders, the 4.5-inch angle grinders, they have the little roll lock angle grinder. I won't use those. Honestly, for me, for my needs, they are far too large, and also battery life. Like that die grinder that they have, that right angle die grinder, I think even with the 4 amp hour battery, that only gets like 15 minutes of runtime. When I'm using an angle grinder, I'm not an auto tech anymore. So back when I was an auto tech, yeah, I have to clean off the thermostat housing surface, you know? Okay, that takes a minute, maybe. That makes sense for that tool. For me, if I'm picking up an angle grinder, I'm probably gonna be using it for hours. You know, I'm gonna start my day with that angle grinder and it's gonna run all day long, on and off. I can't have a dozen batteries sitting around to do that. The other problem that I have with that tool is it's just too large. The whole body is, you know, it's yay big. And that's fine for the automotive world. And even in the automotive world, like the auto tech world, it's still iffy in my mind. I am always on the search for the absolute smallest grinders that I can use. The one that I use the most, I've done a video about it. Let me pull it up here. The one that I use the most, because it fits into the tightest locations the best, is this micro sander from Matco. Astro Pneumatics is the one who makes it, sells it, but they don't sell this exact model, unfortunately. Let's switch to the capture here. So that's what I use for grinding most on sheet metal and metal projects, is this thing. It's like a 0.3 or 0.4 horsepower air motor, but because it doesn't have a gear reduction, because it's straight motor drive to the shaft, it actually feels more like a 0.5 horsepower. It's very comparable to my 0.5 horsepower die grinders. And the overall dimensions of it, it fits in the palm of my hands. I can fit it into very tight locations in that respect. So a lot of the time when I need a grinder, I'll often be reaching up into a fender well, into a quarter panel, inside of a door skin. I need both very short head height, so the end of the actual grinding surface to the backside of the head needs to be short for me. And while that tool may not look it, it actually is very short. It's comparable, if not shorter, than most, if not all, die grinders, because there's no shaft sticking out of it. The roll lock backer goes directly onto the tool. It's actually much more compact, and it fits into tight locations excellent, in my opinion. So I do like that thing. I do use that primarily for a grinder. So basically the biggest problem for me is fitting things into tighter locations. Now that video was popular, 1,300 views. So yeah, fitting things in tighter locations is just, it's a constant battle for me, and it just doesn't work out, unfortunately, when it comes to most of the cordless tools. I don't use 4.5-inch grinders basically ever. They are just, they're too big and unruly for me. I use like much more compact air grinders. They're not as strong as the 4.5-inch grinders, but I need to be able to feather a trigger. I need to be able to fit into tighter locations. Control is more important than power for me. So those battery-powered ones are just too large, and I find that they don't usually have very good variable triggers. It's usually on-off and maybe a speed dial to control the speed. It doesn't really work for my needs, unfortunately. So what I do use when it comes to cordless tools, I reviewed it. Let me pull that one up too. I actually reviewed a couple of Milwaukee tools that I do use on a regular basis. Let me pop these up here. The soldering iron, the Milwaukee 12-volt soldering iron, and the Milwaukee M18 heat gun, I use those on a regular basis when I'm doing wiring. I have to admit that I don't love either one of them. In fact, I think I was fairly negative in those reviews right there, but I use them. I still use them because the convenience of being cordless when it comes to those tools is immense. If I'm underneath of a dashboard and I'm working and I want to heat shrink something, having that heat gun that's very well shielded to prevent it from burning things and runs on a battery, I don't have to drag a cord into the car, that works so well for my needs that I deal with the fact that it doesn't heat up very fast and the battery life is not great. As far as the cordless soldering iron is concerned, again, it doesn't heat up very fast. The heat output of it is not amazing. The battery life is horrendous on it, but it is so convenient that I keep using it. So those two I have already switched, and I've given up on the fact that they are not as small as some of the other ones because they are convenient when it comes to not having a cord attached. So I do really like those in that respect. And impact guns. As far as like the cordless impacts, I will be switching probably a lot of that stuff too, because I don't work on new cars much anymore, so fitting in tighter locations on cars isn't as big of an issue for me. And so the cordless stuff does make sense in that respect. So I use cordless drills. I don't use air drills. I don't use corded drills rarely, if ever, anymore. It's all about cordless when it comes to that stuff. So it's a mixture of yes and no for me. Joe, I agree with that opinion. Joe said in the chat that his opinion is the cordless stuff takes longer to stop when you turn it off than an air tool does, and it's probably due to the motor having less drag than the gear train in an air tool. I was also taught, and I think I've learned since that this isn't accurate, but I was taught that it's hard on an electric motor to like force stop it. So if you turn off your bench grinder and you jam something into the wheel and grind it to stop the motor, I was always told that's bad for the motor because it creates like a reverse induction situation and produces a light voltage inside of the motor. It's bad for the windings and bad for the brushes. And I was told that anyway. I don't know how true that is, especially a lot of stuff now is brushless, so I don't know. I think it's been disproven. That's an old wives' tale at this point. But I've always kind of stuck to that rule as that goes. And with air tools, you don't have to worry about that. So I've always just been like, oh, I'm done with the air tool, jam it down onto a surface and stop it if I need to stop it immediately. So I agree with that. I do think they are more controllable, safer because they're more controllable, and also, also kind of wind down in a different way. So, and also I can, even if an air tool doesn't have a motor control, maybe it doesn't have its own built-in regulator, it doesn't have a variable trigger, I can always use a wall regulator on the airline to control the airflow and make it a variable. So, you do have control with that stuff and you don't have with other things, in my opinion. Let me go back to my channel here.
Surprised with.
So, Just going over my list here, make sure I covered all the topics I wanted to cover in this stream. Back on the HotRodHippie channel here, we have 22.5 thousand followers now, or subscribers. Thank you so much for being around, folks. I do really appreciate it. I always want to make sure to mention that. I appreciate everybody that stops in, checks out these live streams, watches the videos. You know, I should probably redo this. I need to redo branding. Oh, I didn't bring up, dang it, that's what I forgot to bring up. I've got some new stuff coming out, and I'll make videos about it in the not too distant future. I'm going to be creating a new website for myself in the very, very near future. There'll be a new HotRodHippie.com. I'm intending, I think, to do blog posts, articles about my videos. Maybe not in-depth, you know, multi-page articles, but covering topics. So if I do tool review, there'll be a blurb about it and the links to the products, and the gist of the review will be in the article and the full review will be in the video. I want to start doing that for basically all of my videos. I would love to put things in print. So if people want to refer back to what it is that I'm talking about and cover those topics in a little bit, you know, they want to be able to just breeze through and read and gloss over the topic and not listen to the video. Maybe you want to revisit a topic, you're doing some wiring work and you want to just see a refresher and you want to just go ahead and scan through that article. I would love to have that available to people. I also think for advertisers, having the website will be a valuable thing for them as well, which will allow me to create more content. Also, I'm going to have new products coming out. I am designing my own products for custom car building, and I've got one in hand already. I need to get the website so that I can efficiently sell it and make some marketing material so I can show it to you folks and get it out there for sale. I sold some already. People kind of picked up on what was going on and bought some of them. So I will have a new product, at least one new product coming out. I'm intending to do merch as well. Currently, I do merch on the through Teespring, and the quality is good, and I appreciate the company. It's okay dealing with them, but I find the wait time is just too long, and I don't like that. I've had some people order stuff and then they contact me saying, hey, you know, I ordered a t-shirt, but you know, it was weeks ago and I haven't gotten it yet. I don't have any control because it's a print to order business. So, you know, you order a t-shirt and they don't print it until you order it. And then it's wherever in the line of printing is where yours is that you get it. So that means that it takes a lot longer to get things out the door, and I love that. I would love to get inventory, get boxes of t-shirts. So if you order a t-shirt, I drop it in the mail and you get it ASAP. So I'm going to start doing that in the not too distant future. That's going to be happening. I'm going to work on a few other new products, things I want to get out the door for you folks. Just custom car stuff, maybe some tools. I think there are a few tools that I have made for myself over the years that I could probably sell to you folks for reasonable pricing. We'll see. You know, I'm going to gauge interest on that, see what you folks think about it going forward. So I'm just looking at the ways that I can make this a business and make this work going forward. You know, 2020, the end of 2020, going into 2021, this has shown me that the world is a conflicted place, you know, whatever. I need to figure out how to make this work. So selling products is one way that I can see making a portion of it work. Because I got to tell you, everybody, I have said this many, many times, and people need to understand this. YouTube does not pay what you think it pays. Yeah, the person with 10 million subscribers makes a living off of YouTube. I don't. 22,000 subscribers. I appreciate you folks. I love having you here. You viewers are excellent. We have a great community going in the comments, in these chats. I love it. It doesn't pay the bills, is all there is to it. So, you know, that's just something that moving forward I need to be thinking about. Metal Bob, you said there, custom tooling. Yes, hopefully I've got some ideas for some custom tooling that I think could be valuable to people. I just want to make sure that I can produce a quality product that you folks would see value in and also would be reasonably priced. So, you know, I don't want to, I can make there's a couple tools I know I can make for $200 that'd be really interesting, but am I going to sell 2 or 3 of them at $200? I'd rather reasonably priced tools that you folks will find useful. That's definitely a thought for the future moving forward. So, all right. I think we're caught up on the chat. I showed you the tools I wanted to show. I did want to actually show you the product that I'm producing, but it's not here at the moment. I forgot to grab it. So, you know what? I might as well pull up a preview of it. For you folks who are here, you've stuck around, I might as well show you. Joe, you're asking about my situation. You haven't been on the other platforms. I appreciate that. I understand that. I've moved. I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania now. I'm based here out of Philly now. And so I'm getting my office. This is my new office space in Philadelphia that I've been setting up. At the moment, I don't have a shop to work out of, unfortunately. I'm kind of between situations when it comes to that. We are working on that, and hopefully in the very, very near future, I have a workshop to be producing videos out of and content for you folks. I have a back catalog of videos filmed already for you, so there's still going to be videos coming until I get the space going. I've got quite a few videos cataloged. As far as my dad's truck is concerned, my dad's truck is currently in a teardown stage. He's been tearing it down himself. I did some of that before I left. And he's working on getting it off the paint and body. Some of it's already, like the bed is already, I believe, painted at this point, and the cab is not. It's still in bare metal. So we're working on that. He's taking care of all that. I will be continuing that project. I'm hoping that if I can make the Hot Rod Hippie thing kind of work for me as far as like freelance work and whatever, that I will have the freedom to get down there and work on that thing more. If not, long weekends, holidays, maybe a week here and there, I will be going down, working on the truck and getting it back together. Our ultimate goal is spring car show season of 2021. That thing will be hitting the road. So you folks will see a completed video. It'll be out at shows, probably in the Charlotte area, maybe, hopefully, if I can get into some bigger shows, maybe we can take it nationally and show it off a little bit more, or up to Canada even. You know, we'll see as that goes. I would love to do that and get out and meet more people who watch the content, show the truck that they've been seeing in videos. That has been the ultimate goal with the truck all along. So hopefully we can make that happen in 2021. The truck will absolutely be on the road come 2021. So there will be content based around that in the not too distant future. So yes, that project will continue. There will be more happening based around it, and yes. Yeah, my laptop is still broken. I got to figure that out. Unfortunately, because everywhere I was able to find parts to fix my laptop was coming out of China, and so it was going to take me like 2 months to get the replacement parts. Literally, I wouldn't have had the replacement parts. Had I ordered them the day my laptop broke, I wouldn't have had them until like this week, and that was, you know, almost 2 months ago. So, unfortunate factor there. Let me pull up. I've got my Instagram pulled up here. Hey, I can show you this here too, Joe. You're asking about, you know, you're not on the other platforms. Let's check this out. Instagram. Let me find. And this is kind of. This is what I left the truck. The condition I left the truck in when I left. You know. Bare metal cab, torn down, and yeah, so still on the frame. My dad's gonna tear this all down piece by piece over the winter, paint the frame and all of that. So yeah, that's where it was when I left Charlotte. That was literally the day I left. My car's in the background there, getting packed up to leave. Oh, I'm looking for. As part of the HVAC video, making AC lines, I'm going to show you a little bit about making these custom AC hard lines as well. I did stainless steel lines on the core support of the 65. I will be showing that in that video. I don't think I'll be putting this in a video. I made a custom upper radiator hose for the truck. Yeah, so it's a stainless steel tube with a 90-degree on it and a couple of silicone couplers on the ends. That's how I've been doing this lately on builds, because trying to find for these engine swaps, trying to find the right, you know, radiator hoses for them, it just almost never happens. So this has been a really good option for various builds to make them work. Okay, I think this video, I gotta show you this, folks.
With Come with me, and you'll be.
I get a kick out of that. I think it's funny. My dad needed to trim bushes, so he strapped his lawnmower to the front of his backhoe and used the lawnmower to trim the top of the bushes. And you know what? It worked. It definitely worked. Here's the plumbing for the hard lines for the air ride and the fuel system on the 65. So here's some photos of that for you folks who aren't on Instagram or not seeing the stuff on Instagram. You know, we're trying to figure out how we can show this off. We're talking about making the bed, the wood floor in the bed, actually tilt on the truck, tilt up, so people at a car show can still see all of this stuff, because my dad likes the work that I did here and he wants to show it off. He wants it to be seen. So, yep. The rear axle on the truck is getting a limited slip. My dad did decide on putting a new posi unit and new gears in it. It's getting 373 gears with a limited slip differential in it, and it's going to get fully sandblasted and painted before this is all said and done. Ron, yes, that hedge trimming trick is definitely an out-of-the-box thinking design. And hey, it worked. It worked fairly well, actually. Here's a couple more hardline pictures, but this does highlight what I'll give you folks a preview of. It's the overflow coolant bottle for the radiator. And the product that I'm going to be selling that I mentioned that I designed is this bracket. Let me zoom in a little bit. That bracket right there is my design, my original design. Somebody helped me with the design, the CAD design of it to get it produced, since I need to learn that stuff more. And this bracket allows for installing bulkhead fittings, like AN standard -6 bulkhead fittings into it, whether it be straight 45 degree, 90 degree fittings, so that you can convert from soft line to hard line. I like using it in this situation. This is coming from the fuel tank to the frame rail, and allows me to both mount the lines to the rail securely. They're good and solid mounted because you can bolt that bracket to the rail, or you can bolt it to the body. You could bolt it to, you could weld it onto your fuel tank if you're building a custom fuel tank, and then you can use that for a really nice solid base to start your hard line plumbing from, or you could just use it as a junction point and put soft lines and just use it as a mount too. And it's up to you what you do with that. So I got to make some marketing materials and get this demonstrated. I've got inventory of these things now sitting waiting to be sold, and yeah, so that is the product that I will be selling. I've already got it produced. It's laser cut, press brake bent, all the same, you know, trying to keep a good quality production going, and those will be out in the very, very near future. I need to get working on selling those. So yeah, that's the product that I've got going, and will be out in the very near future. So you folks here on the stream get a nice preview of that. I also have a feature video coming on this truck. I don't know if anybody saw this one. This truck built by a truck built by Jimmy Bullard of MRC Fab. He works with Mittler Brothers on the hydro shocks, and so he put together that truck for a pro touring racing event, and it was sick. It was a wild truck. I got a feature video coming on that in the not too distant future. So I think that's a little bit of update for those folks who are not on Instagram. And I will, like I said, I'll be bringing some more of this content to YouTube, so you, so you folks are not out of the loop who are not on the other social media platforms. Any other questions? That's the desk view. Hi. That's not what I meant to show. Why does this look darker than it's supposed to? I don't know. Little bit of color loss there between the camera setup and the computer, but that happens. Again, I've got a giveaway coming soon. I will be posting about it on YouTube, so you folks here will not be missing out. I promise. Of course, it'll also be mentioned on Instagram, TikTok, whole 9 yards. It'll be everywhere. I will be making a big point about it. It's going to be these IsoTunes Pro 2.0 Bluetooth hearing protection, a set of these gear wrench ratchets, and some stuff from Red Horse Performance. I'm waiting to see what they send over before I announce exactly what is going to be coming from them. I might as well plug while I'm waiting to see if anybody has any other questions. I should wrap up here soon. The Patreon account, patreon.com/HotRodHippie, that directly supports this channel, allows me to produce content for you folks. That's really a big help. I really appreciate the patrons over there on Patreon. I've got to get some postcards out. I've got postcards for those folks, some exclusive stuff on Patreon. I'm going to try and make it a little more appealing for people who are interested in supporting in that way. I don't want to pigeonhole. I don't want to lock off too much of my content with Patreon. I'm trying to keep it so that everybody has access to what it is that I'm producing. So there will be additional stuff over there, but not a ton of like exclusive things for now anyway. But that really does help when it comes to paying rent on a workshop space. I'm in Philadelphia. It's a major city, so rents are not awful here, but they're not cheap either. Not the middle of nowhere cheap. So there's things there that there's bills to pay that I appreciate having those folks helping out with those situations and helping to produce this content for you folks. There's another thing that I should plug. Lately, I've had a lot of people asking about the whatever stuff I use when it comes to video content or building cars, the tools I use, the equipment I use to film videos, the parts that I use to build cars when it comes to battery cables and all that kind of stuff. I put together an Amazon page for that. These are of course all affiliate links. I do get a little kickback if you do use these. I appreciate it when folks do. I will drop the link in the chat so folks can check it out for themselves if they are so inclined. I just dropped that link in there. It's amazon.com/shop/HotRodHippie. But let me show you like some of the stuff that I've been putting into this shop lately. The battery terminal crimper that I use when I'm crimping battery terminals onto like battery line and battery cables. I've got a video coming about making custom battery cables that will be featuring this tool as well. The respirator that I wear when I'm grinding, these angled wrenches from Gear Wrench. This tool that I use for making custom AC lines that I will be doing a video about in the very near future. These kinds of things that I use when I'm producing videos and building cars. So let's move to back to the shop. As far as parts that I use, there's the wire loom that I use when I'm making custom harnesses, the 8L clamps that I use, the battery terminal junction bulkheads that I use. I wanted to put these things into a central place so folks have a chance to see what it is that I'm using. If they're interested, that stuff is all listed there. Obviously it's not everything that I use. This is stuff that Amazon does have that I do use that I thought you folks might be interested in checking out. So, yeah, I think that's gonna be the majority. Let me check my list here. I had new video, new office, shop, tools. That's what I had on my list for this stream. We've been streaming for a little over an hour now. So, anybody have any last questions for this stream for today? I have found that a little bit over an hour is when I start to lose my voice, so I can't do too much more for today. I've got more stuff coming in the not too distant future. I have a couple of properties set incorrectly on the stream here. Okay, I've got a couple of projects coming up in the not too distant future. Let me see if I can pull up my other Instagram here and show you folks. You might as well see what else is going on in life. If you're not familiar, I do have a second YouTube channel and a second Instagram. It's just like personal stuff. It's video projects, computer stuff, you know, it's these things that I'm into but aren't necessarily related to the Hot Rod Hippie channel. But over here, I can show you my roommate that I'm living with now. He posted this mural. Let's go over. He did this mural, and I filmed that project from beginning to end. That was a serious project. This thing is like 25 feet tall by like 50 feet long. We're probably going to have prints of this available for sale in the not too distant future. So if anybody is interested in art, likes this kind of artwork, it's actually, the print is going to be a photograph that I took of this, but we edited it to look like a painting. It's unique. It's interesting. I think it's cool. So I think it's really interesting. It's going to be available in the not too distant future. So we were kind of going for an interesting, quirky, new, a different take on the concept, you know, of not just being a photograph of it and not him doing a new painting of it, but the existing artwork speaking for itself. There's my roommate and Busta. These are the two who painted the mural, Jose and Evan Lovett. And there's just a little bit of me filming behind the scenes shot of it. So my other, if you're not familiar, my other page is Mandic Really, MANDIC-REALLY, all one word. And it's also my other YouTube channel. I might as well pop over on that and show that off as well for anybody who might care. My other YouTube channel, Mandic Really, 176 subscribers. Thank you to those folks. It used to be called The Gamer Hippie. I need to rebrand it. I need to make a new header and things for this page. But, you know, you can see here some of the other stuff that I do, video content, computer and camera content, things like that, that you folks may or may not be at all interested in. So, all right, I'm not seeing any more questions coming in on the live stream here. One last chance, again, patreon.com/HotRodHippie. If anybody's interested in supporting, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. We've gotten some new followers, new patrons on Patreon, and I really appreciate those folks. So, I'm getting hungry. I gotta go food shopping. Anybody think I answered all the questions? Let me check back in the chat here. Yeah. All right. Everybody, I really appreciate all the folks who have checked in. Joe, excellent. Watch out for that giveaway in the near future. I will absolutely be putting a video up about that giveaway, as well as posts on Instagram and Facebook and Patreon and TikTok. It's going to be everywhere. I want it to be a very inclusive giveaway. I have audiences all around. Some, you know, I've got 75,000 followers, 70-some thousand followers on TikTok, and I have 22,000 here on YouTube. So clearly there are people everywhere that I need to reach. So that giveaway will be coming out, and I will be showing it to all of the audience as best as I can. So thank you so much to everybody for coming in today, for hanging out, asking questions. I appreciate you all folks for being here, for hanging out with us. And I think that is going to wrap it up for this stream, folks. One last quick look at these things. Again, this tool from Dom Tucci. This thing, the offset marking tool, you can pick it up from Dom Tucci Design on Instagram. He's working basically through DMs on Instagram right now, I believe, to sell that thing. If you're interested, you can pick one of those up there. Again, Dom Tucci Design. So, all right. I think that is going to be it for today's live stream. Thank you so much to everybody who has joined me, coming around. Please drop the video. If you're watching this in the stream, like it, comment. I will answer back to those comments. I try to do that with most things as long as they're respectful anyway. If you're not already, please get subscribed to the Hot Rod Hippie channel. It really helps out. I appreciate everybody coming around. Again, patreon.com/HotRodHippie directly supports the channel. I have plugged that enough, Alan. Move on. Thank you so much to everybody who has come in, hang out, and chatted today. I will be seeing you